So you should teach your patients about hunger. There's a lot of types of hunger. There's uncontrollable hunger, like food is in front of you. That's the cephalic phase response. The brain reward paradigm, which is that carb and fat, that hedonic reward paradigm that Andreas had sort of mentioned. Social cues, emotional cues. And there's a whole bunch of modifiable factors. Glycemia being probably the most important. Eating nutrient-dense food is another one, being in ketosis. You know, this isn't me cherry picking. This is the New England Journal of Medicine, 1953, Gene Mayer. When he asked the question, what is hunger? Is it in the brain? Is it in the gut? Where does hunger come from? They thought maybe there was organs or whatever. And he showed that blood sugar fluctuations make people hungry. Who's been ignoring this? So this is what he wrote. The glucostatic mechanism suggested here seems to provide a basis for precise regulation for the desire for food or satiety. Okay? This is another study looking at blood sugar fluctuations. And those nadirs, right, in controlled conditions, insulin's effect on glycemia is what drove human hunger. Hunger was the greatest when the blood sugar was the lowest. Also interesting, 1996 was about the time that Gary Ruskin found out that CocaCola was paying the AAFP and the ACSM. So a signal for hunger in humans is associated with transient declines in blood glucose, 1996. Who is this? Oh, this is Campbell's work. Okay, Campfield, yeah. So this is actually an interesting one. We've heard a lot about controlling for calories. So this is a calorie for calorie comparison. Taste-matched shakes, calorie-matched shakes given to people. And all we're measuring is what happens to their future hunger. What happens to them? When do they initiate another meal? And you can see there's one group of people here that initiate another meal in 60 minutes. That's the carbohydrate group. And there's another group that initiates a meal 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours later. This is Rajita Sinha from Yale, where I trained in internal medicine residency in 2011. She said, is it insulin or glucose? She measured what happens to people's hunger with blood sugar fluctuations, and she showed that a 20-point drop in blood sugar is what caused the brain to light up and people to say, I want food. A 20-point drop. Right? That's all it took. It wasn't the insulin. They had to allow the blood sugar to come down. It was the glucose and insulin relation that did it. Transient, modest reductions in circulating glucose decrease prefrontal cortical inhibitory control and could promote overeating, particularly in an environment inundated with visual cues of high caloric food. Again, with the calories. This is another work from David Ludwig showing that total blood energy is actually decreased with a high-carb meal. This was a very interesting one. This is very recently as the advent of CGMs came out, showing that hunger relates to the time of day with the lowest blood sugar.